The cameras flashed, the crowd froze,
Yeah.
and just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
It was a totally wild moment.
Right. I mean, imagine the sensory overload of this scene. It is the biggest, most chaotic, heavily guarded celebrity event of the decade.
Madison Square Garden was practically a fortress.
Literally a fortress. Inside, you have an arena filled with the absolute apex of A-list fame. It's humming with this energy that is, blindingly loud.
Oh, absolutely.
Right there, hidden in plain sight beside the dance floor, the most famously guarded leading man of our generation quietly rewrites his entire personal life.
And he does it with just a single tap on a smartphone.
It's crazy! Welcome to this deep dive into the Starscope Report.
So glad you're here with us.
Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
Yeah, and today we are opening up a massive stack of sources for you. We're pulling from celebrity news outlets like Soy Carmine and The Guardian, some pop culture breakdowns from Pure Wow.
Plus that remarkably revealing 2025-2026 wedding industry study by The Knot.
Right, and our mission in this deep dive is to help you decode the quietest yet somehow loudest celebrity debut of the year.
Exactly. Brad Pitt finally goes Instagram official with Ines De Ramon.
The tactical brilliance of this moment, it really comes down to the environment they selected.
Totally.
We were talking about Brad Pitt, right? A man whose personal life has generated an entire microeconomy of tabloid headlines for like 30 years.
Oh, easily 30 years.
And he deliberately chose the absolute epicenter of pop culture mania, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's massive wedding, to launch this digital footprint.
Which is just so smart.
It really is a masterclass in modern public relations. It subverts every expectation of how a highly guarded A-lister is supposed to behave.
Which brings us to the actual mechanism of the reveal. So let's set the scene. It's July 3, 2026.
Peak summer.
Yeah. New York City is sweltering. The streets around Midtown Manhattan are completely paralyzed.
Good luck getting a cab.
Seriously. And Madison Square Garden is under a strict, ironclad, no-phones policy for what everyone is calling America's royal wedding.
But despite all that security, the defining image of Brad and Ines doesn't come from some rogue paparazzo scaling a fence.
Right. And it doesn't come from the bride or groom either.
No, it comes from Laurie Zanoletti.
Who is a celebrity hairstylist. She just casually posts a photo from the reception. The caption simply reads, "My favorite lovers," and she tags them both.
But here's the critical pivot. This is the moment.
Yeah.
Ines De Ramon takes the proactive step of reposting that image directly to her own Instagram story.
Boom.
Exactly. She has a red heart emoji and sets the background music to Taylor Swift's tracks Lover and Delicate.
The visual messaging in that specific photo is just surgically precise.
Oh, down to the last detail.
You have Brad Pitt at 62 years old in a classic tuxedo, a bow tie, and dark black sunglasses indoors.
Which is such a mood.
Totally leaning into that untouchable movie star aesthetic. And beside him is Ines De Ramon, 33, in a sheer black lace dress.
With that dropped shoulder strap and a sleek high ponytail.
Yes. They are perfectly coordinated in all black attire. It projects total unity and, just comfort.
But to your point about the mechanism of the reveal, reposting it to her own story is what changes everything.
Oh, so?
Well, it transforms this from a leak candid photo into an authorized debut.
I look at this strategy and it immediately reads as a PR Trojan horse to me.
Oh, 100%.
By dropping the specific announcement during Swift's wedding, Pitt guaranteed that the tabloids would be distracted. Like they had literally all their freelance budgets and resources pointed at the bride and groom.
So they were way too busy to dig up the usual invasive angles on Brad.
Exactly. He successfully buried his own lead. I mean, they didn't sit down for a glossy magazine cover, which would invite endless scrutiny.
Right, and they didn't have their publicists release some stiff formal statement either.
No, they just slipped their relationship debut into the slipstream of someone else's global news event.
And that strategy completely neutralizes the paparazzi bounty system.
Wait, explain that for people who might not know.
So usually, the first official shot of a high-profile couple is worth an absolute fortune.
Right, which leads to dangerous car chases and invasive stalking.
Exactly. But by self-publishing a stylized, high-quality image from inside an impenetrable fortress like Madison Square Garden, they instantly devalued that bounty.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It tells the industry that the relationship has reached a steady, settled place. It removes the mystery, but it does so entirely on their own terms.
Leaving the tabloids with basically nothing left to hunt.
Precisely.
But, using someone else's wedding as a shield is a brilliant tactical move, but it only works if the relationship itself is rock solid.
Very true.
And building that kind of foundation in Hollywood requires a completely different strategy, one that took them 3 years of hiding in plain sight.
A very long 3 years.
And that's not even the wildest part. Wait until you hear the 3-year secret timeline that led to this exact moment.
Yeah, to really understand the weight of that Instagram story, we have to look at the logistical evolution of their romance.
Right.
So, according to the timeline mapped out by our sources at Soy Carmine, the first public intersection of their lives was way back in November 2022.
Wow.
They were spotted at a Bono concert in Los Angeles. And the timing here is incredibly sensitive.
Because it was just 2 months after Ince's separation from her ex-husband, Paul Wesley, became public knowledge.
Exactly. Now, going to an arena concert sounds public, but the logistics of A-list ingress and egress make it one of the most controlled environments on Earth.
Oh, for sure. They aren't walking through the main concourse holding hands.
No, they are using private VIP subterranean tunnels, watching from cordoned-off suites and leaving in decoy vehicles.
It allows them to share an experience without actually being accessible to the public.
It's a controlled exposure.
Oh.
And from that initial concert, we see a very deliberate pattern of geographical insulation.
Like what?
Well, in December of 2022, they celebrated Brad's 59th birthday together, followed by a New Year's Eve trip to Cabo.
Okay, sun-drenched getaway. Classic.
Right. Then, by February 2023, right as Wesley officially filed for divorce, Brad and Ines were seen dining at Fouquet's in Paris.
See, choosing Paris for a romantic dinner during a sensitive media window is a very specific logistical choice.
It really is.
Because France has incredibly strict privacy laws regarding paparazzi photography compared to the US or the UK.
Right. You can't just publish candid photos of public figures in private settings over there without immense legal risk.
So they were essentially utilizing international privacy statutes to buy themselves time to develop the relationship away from the American tabloid glare.
Which is a stark contrast to the modern celebrity playbook.
Oh, completely.
I mean, in today's influencer culture, a couple might go on one coffee date and immediately launch a joint media tour.
Because the relationship itself is monetized content.
Exactly. Pitt and De Ramon had to actively fight against that machine. And we also had to factor in Brad Pitt's mindset during this era.
Right, because he had spent years embroiled in a highly complex, very public divorce and custody battle.
Which only reached its conclusion in December 2024. For nearly a decade, his name was heavily tethered to legal division rather than his creative output.
So by pacing this new relationship so slowly, he was actively reclaiming his narrative.
Yeah, he was separating his private life from public consumption. He actually spoke to this exact tension in a May 2025 interview with GQ.
Oh, what did he say?
He pushed back against the idea that his public moves are heavily calculated. He said, and I quote, "No, life just evolves. Relationships evolve. My personal life is always in the news. It's been an annoyance I've had to always deal with."
That is so telling.
So the progression we see calling her his girlfriend to friends by November 2023, the red carpet debut at the Venice Film Festival in 2024.
And then I'm fully moving into his home by late 2025 or early 2026.
It all reflects a man pairing a calmer personal chapter with a major creative comeback.
That brings us to a really fascinating pivot point before the wedding, which our YouTube source from Starscoop highlighted.
Oh, the French Open.
Yes. Their appearance at the 2026 French Open Women's Final. They were showing noticeable courtside PDA.
Which is a big deal.
Huge. Sitting courtside at a major tennis final is the ultimate form of social signaling for the ultra-wealthy.
It's not about hiding anymore.
Exactly. It's about projecting a very specific type of established, relaxed partnership.
The French Open, Wimbledon, the U.S. Open, these are venues where legacy royalty and Hollywood royalty converge.
So true.
Appearing there, especially after reports that they were cohabitating, painted a vivid picture of a settled chapter. It normalized them as a couple in the public eye.
That courtside appearance was the essential groundwork. It made the ultimate digital debut at the Swift-Kelce wedding feel like a natural, inevitable progression.
Rather than a desperate cry for attention.
Right. And hey, if you're loving these Hollywood twists and the mechanics behind them, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead.
You won't want to miss them.
Because we cannot fully analyze this digital debut without looking at the absolute madness of the event where it happened.
The wedding itself.
Yes. Later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the baffling guest list at this wedding and the shocking twist nobody saw coming.
The backdrop of this announcement was quickly dubbed the MBT&T Gala by the press.
Which is a hilariously accurate name.
Right. The logistics of shutting down Madison Square Garden for a private event of this magnitude are just staggering.
We are talking about the Empire State Building glowing in light blue sparkle purely to celebrate a wedding.
The scale of wealth and influence on display is honestly hard to overstate.
I mean, you have Taylor Swift walking down the aisle in custom Christian Dior haute couture.
Designed by Jonathan Anderson.
Yes. And as fashion insiders know, this is a monumental moment because it marks his first bridal design for the French house.
Unbelievable.
She is wearing Cartier jewelry, Christian Louboutin shoes, and Travis Kelce is also outfitted in Dior. It is this massive collision of American pop royalty and European high fashion.
And the entertainment budget alone would eclipse most major music festivals.
Oh, easily.
They had surprise performances by Stevie Nicks, and Paul McCartney actually sang, "I Want to Hold Your Hand."
That is insane. But if we look past the couture and the legends on stage, the sociological composition of the guest list is what truly demands analysis.
It really does. The breakdown by PureWow of the 1,000-plus attendees is a fascinating study in random elite proximity.
Random is the right word. You obviously expect the inner circle, right? Gigi Hadid, Jack Antonoff, Ed Sheeran.
Of course.
But then the lens pans over and you see Ethan Hawke, you see Tom Hanks, Hugh Grant.
And Adam Sandler.
Who didn't just attend, but actually officiated the ceremony.
As absurd as it sounds to have Adam Sandler officiate a billionaire's wedding, this perfectly aligns with the sociological data emerging from the wedding industry.
Wait, really? How so?
So if we dive into the 2025-2026 Real Weddings study published by The Knot,
Okay.
they surveyed over 10,000 couples, and there is a documented massive shift in how modern ceremonies are structured. The industry is currently experiencing a stark K-shaped split in spending and execution.
Okay, a K-shaped economic split usually describes a scenario where different segments of the population recover from a recession at entirely different trajectories.
Right.
So how does that map onto the wedding industry?
It maps perfectly onto how couples are deploying their capital. At the downward arm of the K, couples spending under $12,000 are reacting to inflation by shrinking their footprints.
Upsets.
They're opting for micro-gatherings of around 90 guests, moving away from traditional venues toward public parks or family properties. They're relying on DIY decor and having friends officiate to mitigate costs.
Right, but what about the other side?
At the top upward arm of the K couple spending over $41,000, they are moving in the exact opposite direction.
Let me guess, bigger is better.
Exactly. They aren't just throwing parties. They are prioritizing the guest experience. 77% of these top-tier couples are focused on immersive, full-service celebrations.
And Swift and Kelce represent the absolute billionaire apex of this upper arm.
Bingo. They are rejecting standard traditions in favor of curated spectacle. They had no bridesmaids and no groomsmen.
Wait, none?
None. Just their brothers, Austin Swift and Jason Kelce.
Okay, I have to challenge the industry terminology here.
Go for it.
Because that same study from The Knot states that modern couples planning for 2026 crave authenticity and intimate ceremonies.
Yeah, that's what the data says.
But from a purely logical standpoint, a 1,000-person arena event with Paul McCartney performing and Tom Hanks in the audience is the antithesis of intimate.
You're not wrong.
It sounds more like curating a VIP music festival than an intimate expression of love.
But that is the paradox of modern luxury. And it highlights how the definition of authenticity has radically evolved for the experiential economy.
How do you mean?
Well, authenticity used to mean a quiet church service and a seated dinner with 30 relatives.
Right, the traditional route.
But for this generation, and particularly the ultra-wealthy, authenticity means aggressively breaking protocol to reflect your specific personality.
Ah, I see.
So having a legendary comedian like Adam Sandler officiate instead of traditional religious figure, that is their version of authenticity.
It is the ultimate flex to say, we have the resources to do whatever we want, and tradition does not bind us.
Exactly. It's a fascinating sociological contradiction.
The ultimate display of wealth isn't adhering to high society rules. It's having enough power to completely ignore them.
Hit the nail on the head. And we see this reflected in the dining data as well.
Oh, what did The Knot find there?
They report that 60% of couples now categorize their weddings as semi-formal. They are actively prioritizing comfort and connection over stiff, formal protocol.
Interesting.
Plus, 60% of receptions now feature a buffet or self-serve stations instead of a formal plated sit-down meal.
A buffet at a luxury wedding.
Yeah, the goal is kinetic energy, encouraging guests to mingle, move around, and interact. So even at the absolute highest echelons of wealth, the vibe is shifting from stately and rigid to massive but relaxed.
The visual of a high-end buffet at Madison Square Garden is incredible. Just the idea of Hugh Grant and an NFL linebacker navigating a carving station together perfectly captures that semi-formal chaos.
It's quite the image.
And hey, stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because this environment brings us right back to the strategic brilliance of Brad Pitt's announcement.
It connects beautifully. Just think about the social dynamics of that environment.
Right.
If Swift and Kelce had thrown a highly traditional, rigid, formal black tie dinner, taking a selfie and posting it to an Instagram story with pop music might have felt deeply out of place.
Oh, it could have been perceived as super disrespectful to the solemnity of the occasion.
Exactly. But at a semi-formal arena event that actively prioritizes wild experiences, celebrity mingling, and breaking the rules.
It became the absolutely perfect incubator for a low-key, high-impact digital debut.
The sheer noise of the Swift-Kelce wedding provided a flawless cover.
Everyone was so hyper-focused on the spectacle, trying to figure out why Ethan Hawke was there, or watching Adam Sandler at the altar, that Brad and Ines were granted a rare moment of invisibility.
They could just exist in the crowd, snap a well-lit photo with their hairstylist, and let the architecture of the internet do the rest of the heavy lifting.
It highlights the fascinating intersection of privacy, publicity, and modern media mechanics.
It really does. You can be standing in a room surrounded by 1,000 of the most famous people on Earth.
In the middle of a global media blackout.
And yet you can still control exactly how millions of fans perceive your reality with a single carefully curated post.
They bypassed the press entirely and spoke directly to the culture.
It's wild to think about.
Which brings us to something I want you listening right now to really think about.
Yeah, this is a big one.
In a world where even the most famous, heavily guarded A-list actor on the planet relies on an Instagram story set to a Taylor Swift song to validate his relationship, what does official even mean anymore?
That's the million-dollar question.
Does a relationship only truly exist in modern culture once it's been processed and consumed by the internet? I mean, even for someone like Brad Pitt, who has spent decades fighting the paparazzi.
Using decoy cars.
Yeah, and utilizing international privacy laws to protect his private life. The final seal of approval wasn't a diamond ring or a red carpet interview or a legal document.
It was a digital heart emoji on a screen.
Right. If the biggest movie star in the world has to post it to prove it's real, do the rest of us even stand a chance at a genuinely private romance? Something to ponder as you scroll your feed today.
Truly something to think about.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.